You know what?
All right, so.
Well, I still got a couple of years left in me, please. You want me like that?
We're starting live, so give us 1 second.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stevie Ray. This is our next edition for Stand Up for Greatness. And I'm telling you right now, we got a hell of a show for you tonight. We got a special guest. And you know what we're going to talk about with that special guest? We're going to talk about that black-hearted individual, Vince Russo. That black-hearted, no good for nothing, Vince Russo. What do you think about that, Matt?
I'm excited, Stevie. And by the way, I have to say, it's time to give just a little bit of credit to Mr. Producer. Look at this brand new setup we have here this week on Stand Up for Greatness.
You know, I wasn't going to bring that up because this thing has been falling apart ever since I've gotten here tonight. Yeah. But I will give him credit for one thing. I'll give him credit for one thing. He tried. He tried.
The old college try.
Yeah, you call that a college try? I don't think so. I think it's more like the cheerleader try.
Community
He
college.
did try. Yeah. Until he cleans everything up, I'm going to stay on him like I usually do. Yeah, you, Mr. Producer, starts the show late, gets new stuff out of here, doesn't tell anybody anything, you know. So, be it as it may, I'm going to let him slide. You know why I'm going to let him slide tonight? Because I have a special guest.
Very special guest.
A real special guest.
The hottest name right now in the podcasting game.
Hottest name in the podcasting game.
Yeah.
And somebody who can give you real insight and what people really want to know about certain people.
Right.
That's what I do. That is what I do. If I tell you something, you can take it to the bank. If I tell you to jump, you ask me how high. If I tell you it's hot, you can rest assured it will burn. Because that's what Stevie Ray does. I am the truth. I am the true truth of podcasts. Did you know that, Topolski?
That's why.
Have I lied yet?
You have not.
Did I lie like Mr. Producer?
No.
Like he lies every week?
Every week.
Stays in the shadows? Doing things, doesn't even tell people about? Did I do that? No, I don't do that.
I mean, most people on Twitter think I'm Mr. Producer. I'm not Mr. Producer. I'm Topolski.
Most people on Twitter don't get it. You know why they think you're Mr. Producer? Because they can see your face.
Yeah.
I've told Mr. Producer, you're not ever going to get on camera with the shenanigans that you do on a daily basis.
I don't live in the shadows like Mr. Producer.
He's never going to get it. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right, he's here. You don't see him. He's here. We got him hiding in the basement. We got him hiding in the basement like you do your relatives that you don't want anybody to see. He's down there. Don't worry. We're telling the truth. But hey, man, let's lay it down like we always do.
Big show this week.
Big show. And guess what? We have released a statement telling the whole world that we are going to be at Wrestlecade.
That's true. November the 25th, we will be at Wrestlecade, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and we will have tickets available for you to purchase very soon, courtesy of Title Match Wrestling Network.
Man, you want to bring our guest on right now?
Absolutely.
Because let the fans know, Topolski.
Yes.
Let the fans know we're gonna interview our special guest, and then after we interview, I want to hear the comments. I want to hear the questions because we're gonna lay it down tonight like we never laid it down before.
And everyone is already burning up the chat. We do appreciate you being here live, and make sure if you're here for the first time, you hit that subscribe button on YouTube and be a part of over 65,000 people who have subscribed to Title Match Wrestling Network. But at this time, we are very, very happy.
Wait a minute. Not yet. I got to find out something right before you go to our special guest.
Okay.
I want to know, did you hear back from that fat, bloated, Russell potato chip eating babysitter that tried to call your boy out yet?
Well,
did you hear back from him?
Well, now I have seen a couple of tweets from him. He's been tweeting pictures of his kids because he said he wants to enjoy every day he has left since apparently you told him he only has 2 weeks to live.
Okay, well, at least he acknowledged it. How many days does he have left now?
Let's see. I think 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the clock is ticking.
So make them count.
Yeah, the clock is ticking.
I
just want to ask you that.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay. Now we can go to our special
Okay.
guest.
Well, now without further ado, one of the hottest names in podcasting today, and someone that I have a great pleasure of introducing on this show, none other than Bruce Prichard. Bruce, welcome to Stand Up for Greatness.
Bruce, how you be, baby?
I'm wonderful, and it's good to be here with the legendary Stevie Ray and Mitt Topolski.
Okay. Well, let me enlighten you on some things that's been going on, Bruce, and then I would like for you to give me your insight, your professional insight. I've been going round and round with an individual that you know very well. An individual that goes by the name of Vince Russo. Now, I've been trying to enlighten people on this black-hearted individual. And I know you know him. And he tried to sully my name. Tried to ambush me. Tried to do a Tonya Harding on me. Hit me with a piece of steel as I'm walking by. But you don't do that to Stevie Ray. And I called him out. And I would like to know, Bruce, give me your insight. Give the whole listening audience your insight on this individual. And don't hold back, because we don't hold back on my show.
Well, no, I'm not ever one really to hold back. Vince Russo, if you want to blame anybody for Vince Russo's existence as far as being in the creative realm in which he has become known, you can blame me. Because I'm the one that pretty much gave him his first break there, brought him into the creative process, and basically got Vince McMahon to allow him the voice that he had for his 2 years of achievement that he's made a career off of.
How many years?
Well, I mean, he had 2 decent years that I can ever recall.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Serious.
That's a lot of credit.
Let's go back and think about it. Look at it. I mean, tell me the successful years that he's had in the wrestling business.
Well, if you listen to him talk, he talks as though he is the only person that has ever brought anything to the wrestling business. He actually told me, I brought you out of a club and made you into something. Can you believe that?
Wait a minute. He brought you out of a club?
This man is delusional.
That's about the best. If you were to sum Vince Russo up in one word, I would agree with you on the delusional aspect without a doubt.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say this. He offered to have me on his show one more time to try to make amends. I don't trust him. I don't like him. I don't want to have anything to do with him. But I challenged him to try to debate me face to face. And the sucker won't give me a yes, or he won't give me a no. So I haven't agreed to go back on the show yet. But I want you to tell me what you think about that, man.
Well, I tell you what, I did Vince Russo's show many, many years ago, and we did it on video, went back and forth and told a lot of stories, and it was a nice interview. There was no animosity there. Everything was cool. But the problem was I did a show on my show, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard, that drops every Friday at noon at somethingtowrestle.com. And one of the subjects that our audience chose one week was Vince Russo. And my co-host, Conrad Thompson, did his research, and his research was Vince Russo's own words and Vince Russo's very own book that he wrote. Or maybe he didn't write it. I don't know. From his reaction, maybe he didn't. But Russo, in his book, took credit for a lot of the things that we talked about on his show several years prior to, where he talked about how the guy that came up with The Rock speaking in third person was Jim Ross, how I was the one that suggested The Rock be in the Nation of Domination and turning Rock heel. Just a lot of things. And I'm not sitting here taking credit for any of these guys' success, because the success lies within the individual himself as to whether or not he can make the creative work or not. But here was Russo's show where we talked about those things as they actually happened. But in his book was a completely different story. And all we did was point out the differences between the written word written by him and then what he had actually said later on. So not a lot of credibility for me there.
Let me get this straight. This guy takes credit for certain things that he didn't do? Is that what you said?
Yeah, believe it or not, yes, he does. And that's why after I did my show, of course, he wanted me to come on his show. I will not go on his show because it doesn't matter.
Oh, really?
There's absolutely nothing really to say there. There's nothing really to prove. I have no desire to. We offered Vince Russo the opportunity to come and be a part of our live show that we were doing in St. Louis over Father's Day weekend. Conrad Thompson, my co-host, offered to pay his trans, offered to pay him everything that we made if he agreed to do it. Every single ticket that was purchased after that fact, he would get everything. So he, long story short, he didn't show up. Every excuse that he put out there as to why he couldn't come, we tried to overcome, but never happened. Didn't show.
You know, that's interesting that you bring that up, Bruce, because we've been running into the same exact problem, actually. If I'm not mistaken, Stevie, I'm pretty sure you even offered to pay for his bus fare just to have him.
We offered, hey, we offered to bring him in. We offered to pay his trans, the whole 9 yards, and still it wasn't good enough.
You know something? I told the guy, rent a rental car, Dodge LeBaron, whatever he could get his hands on, and I would pay for it. I asked him to Greyhound is still running, maybe $57.33 to get him from where he's going to North Carolina. Not very much. He didn't want to do that. I don't know what more to do for the guy, because I'm certainly, well, if push comes to shove, I will offer to pay his plane ticket as long as it's on one of the very, very economy flights. I will do that. But he doesn't seem to want to do it
anymore.
Bruce,
I really don't care one way or another.
Bruce, let me say this. I called the man out. The man doesn't want to take the bait. He gets on the phone. He gets on his podcast. He talks big lip. He talks big trash. I want him to do it in my face. He hasn't committed yet. Do you think this man will come around and face me man to man, or do you think he's going to pull another vanishing act like he did with you?
Oh, absolutely. He will not do it.
Really?
Won't happen.
Well, you heard it here first, Stevie. I mean, Bruce Prichard is confirming what we both suspected, and that is that Vince Russo is a coward.
I'm not giving up that easy.
Okay.
I'm telling you what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to go on his show, and I'm going to say every single solitary derogatory thing known to man about this individual, about this black-hearted individual, and I'm going to force him to come out from under the rock of which he lives. I'm going to force him to leave the house with a backpack on, walking down the street with cowboy boots on. I'm going to force him to catch Continental Trailways, Greyhound, I don't care which.
Megabus.
I don't care which form of inner transit it may be. I don't care. I want him to show up in North Carolina, and I want him to face me man to man. And I want the people to see who the real man is, me or Vince Russo. That is what I want. And I'm going on this show, and I'm going to challenge him. No doubt.
Well, yeah, then you know what, Steve, you're a bigger man than I. I doubt that he would show up. And like, you know, the old saying is you can wish in one hand and shit in the other, and tell me which one fills up first. Because I don't think that for a second that your hand of wishing for Vince Russo to show up and face you man to man and being able to actually confront somebody in a live setting where there is no editing and there's nothing to hide behind, I don't know that that would actually ever happen.
Well, we got the truth. We got a little insight on old Vincent Russo.
We did indeed.
The clip joint that he's running, he called it a book of lies. A book of lies. Bruce just came on and told us the man writes lies. He can't even write a book without lying. So definitely he won't face somebody without lying. Well, this is what I'm going to do. Bruce Prichard, Wrestlecade, November the 24th, 25th, and 26th. I would like for you to show up as my special guest on Stand Up for Greatness if you just happen to want to talk about a few things or a few people and enlighten the fans about it. That's just if you want to.
Well, your producer, as a matter of fact, actually has me at Wrestlecade. So I will be at Wrestlecade during the day. Don't know where I'm going to be that night just yet. But, hey, you know what, Matt? You never know exactly where I'm going to show up and what I might do. But without a doubt, I'm going to be in Wrestlecade. I will be in North Kakalaki. And maybe we could hook up, and you never really know what the hell could happen.
Well, good.
And also, if I can interject very quickly, gentlemen, just something that I want to get across the wire. This is breaking news just coming in right now. And this is not a work. I know, sometimes on this show,
Don't start.
There's some hard body Harrison talk. That's not it. An icon has just passed away. Breaking news coming across the wire. Hugh Hefner has died at the age of 91 years old. So I was wondering if I could get a comment from Stevie Ray and Bruce Prichard on Hugh Hefner.
Oh, I'll tell you what. As a young teenager coming up in South Park, Texas, taking the Playboy books and looking at them, and they're hidden different places in the house. Old Stevie Ray would always find them.
Like buried treasure?
Hey, brother, a man I never met, but everybody always admired, brother, because that was a lifestyle. That is a real lifestyle that everybody wanted to live, and he was one of the first ones to do it. Hey, God bless his soul, and I hope he rests in peace, bro.
Wow. First of all, I'm shocked. Second of all, I did have the pleasure of meeting Hef, as they call him, and as they insist that you call him. Did several shoots at the Playboy Mansion, and I told the story about Jamie Noble and Hef at the mansion a few weeks ago on the show. But he was class personified. He was a gentleman's gentleman, and I know it sounds crazy being at the helm of Playboy, but he was always really classy and always extremely nice to me, and a great guy. When I think the first thing that I learned about Hugh Hefner is when they told us a lot of times you'd go in and do shoots and they say, okay, you got 5 minutes. When you had 5 minutes with Hef, that's what you had, was 5 minutes. When Hef walked in the room, the clock started, and at 4:59 he was getting up and ready to leave. But he was a great guy, and I got to tell you, I'm a little shocked and saddened by the news.
And Bruce, also, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up to you because just last week the wrestling community lost one of the greatest icons and certainly someone that I looked up to in Bobby the Brain Heenan. And I know that you've talked about Bobby Heenan quite a bit on your show, Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Prichard. But a few months ago, you had done a show talking about Bobby, and you had some funny stories describing him on purpose cutting people's heads off on pictures or having someone back into a fountain. And I'm just wondering if you have any Bobby Heenan stories or one Bobby Heenan story you could share with the viewers and the listeners tonight.
Well, Bobby was my wrestling dad, and we were best of friends. He, I've said time and time again, he was a father, a brother, a mentor, and a best friend to me for many, many years. I'm heading to Tampa tomorrow for the services, and I've been going back and forth with his daughter Jessica, just sharing memories. It's still kind of not real to me yet, I guess. He was just. It's hard. I'm doing my show tomorrow night for Friday, and the whole subject is Bobby, and I keep saying if I'm even going to be able to get through the damn thing, but yeah, I think that some of the best Bobby stories were Bobby just being Bobby, and one of the funniest things that I just ever saw in my life at Caesar's Palace, and I'll just reiterate that story, was an old couple taking their pictures out by the pool, and Bobby taking the camera, and Bobby always would, because back then you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have instant cameras that you could look at the picture right then and make sure it was right. You had to wait, you had to take it home, get the film developed, and then it would take a couple weeks, and you want to see those pictures so bad, and you take a look at it and your heads are chopped off, or it's completely out of focus, or one person's cut out of it completely. But Bobby had this older couple, and there was a pool area out by Caesar's Palace in the back by the pool. And it was probably about maybe a 6-inch drop off into the water. And Bobby just kept back up. Okay, just one more step. Okay, almost, just a little bit more, until they both just walked right into the water. And he's so damn apologetic on the other side that they would never believe that he would actually do that on purpose. And then afterwards, I'm like, what the hell? He goes, you lifted their wallets, right? And I was like, no. But Bobby was just that kind of guy. He was always on, never stopped. And he's going to be extremely, extremely sorely missed.
Hey, man. I told a story last week about Bobby, and I told it again tonight on my radio show. And had some good times with Bobby, man. He was always a stand-up guy and always made me laugh. I could always get a good laugh when I was around him. That's what I remember more than anything, man. The joke after joke after joke after joke.
Constantly.
And they never stopped.
And we were having dinner in Connecticut one night, and the waitress says to us, she looked at me and Bobby and says to Bobby, "Is this your son?" And he started to laugh, and he just says, yes, that's our son. And so I called him Dad from that point forward, but he called his wife that night, and he said, "Honey, I've got news." She says, "What's that?" She says, "We have a son." And you could hear the hesitation on the other side, because she's thinking, oh my God, what did he do? Did he get some woman pregnant? Now he has a son, and we're going to have to take care of the damn thing? She's like, "What did you do, Robert?" "Ray." And when she was pissed, she'd call him Ray. And he would say, "It's Bruce." So from that point forward, I was son and he was dad.
Wow. Hey, Bruce. Hey, brother. We appreciate you, man, coming on the show, sharing those stories, telling us about that black-hearted Vince Russo. We had to come straight to someone that knew this guy, that really knows him.
Right.
Not some of these other jabronis out here that say they know him.
Right.
Bruce really knows him.
I mean, this is getting the word from the horse's mouth right here.
Hey, that's real.
And I want to let everybody know as well, if you want to see Bruce Prichard and meet him, courtesy of Title Match Wrestling, as well as Stevie Ray at Wrestlecade Weekend, you can get your tickets right now. Go to TitleMatchWrestling.com.
Hey, Bruce, we appreciate you coming on, brother.
Hey, Stevie Ray, always a pleasure. Anytime, and you too, Badinsky.
Yeah, Patolski, he's talking to you.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
Patolski. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. I thought it was Badinsky, but it's Patolski, right, Stevie?
Yeah, I think.
Patowski.
Whatever. You know what? You don't even know what the hell your name is. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Hey, that's one of the big rigs.
Yeah,
that we really do.
Yeah,
one of the big rigs.
Yeah, and a hell of a guy as well. You know, Bruce. One thing that a lot of our listeners and viewers may not know is Bruce also helps out at Reality of Wrestling, and we've had the pleasure of spending the last few years with him as he's helped develop a lot of the talent that is emerging at Reality of Wrestling, and it's a real honor to be around someone who at one time helped produce and be involved in those segments with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh yeah,
as well as all the other things that he saw and experienced and was responsible for. And he also told us the truth about that black-hearted individual, Vince Russo.
You know what? I'm just glad people got a chance to see what we've really been talking about here. And you know what? I'm going to accept the challenge. I'm going to go back on his show. I'm going to see if he's going to try to ambush me again, try to bushwhack me again, try to do a Tonya Harding. Yeah. I'm going to see if he's going to do that.
Or if he'll send his troglodyte after you.
Oh, I forgot about her. I forgot about her. Have we heard anything from Miss Chantilly?
I think she may have posted some sort of response video or something to you. Yes, I haven't watched it yet, but we'll have to get on that.
That transvestite.
Yeah.
That troglodyte.
The troglodyte.
You have the unmitigated gall to try to come back at me? Oh, I worship it, Miss Chantilly, wherever you are. Whatever rock you're hiding under with Vince Russo. Let me ask you something, man. Yeah. Did you see how many followers she had?
I didn't see how many followers she had, but I do know that the first video that she used to slander you had about 300 views.
I don't think it had that many.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering how many of those she paid for.
I don't think it was that many.
Okay. Was it less than 300?
Like 53 views.
Wow.
In a country of 325 million people, you couldn't get the number of people that live on your street to even watch you? That is a crying shame, and it's even more of a shame for Vince Russo to be under his umbrella. But I expect nothing less. I expect nothing less from someone like him, Miss Chantilly. But anyway,
Miss Chantilly,
whatever her name is, I mean that troglodyte.
Man, a lot of people here in the chat tonight talking about Hugh Hefner. This is a big celebrity death right here.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
wow.
Bruce got a chance to meet him. I never did. I do know people that did though, and hey, had nothing but high praise for the guy. You know, the guy knew how to throw a party. I know that.
Yeah. Let's go to a couple of comments and questions here in the live chat. By the way, I want to remind everybody that if you are new to Stand Up for Greatness with Stevie Ray, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Title Match's YouTube channel. In addition to that, every weekend we drop a brand new episode of the podcast on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe. And if you're new to it, there are 10 brand new episodes up there for you right now, so you can binge listen to those this weekend. 10 hours of fantastic content. A couple people are asking me if I'm still drinking apple juice. I am not.
Wait a minute. I'll answer that. No, it's not.
No more apple juice.
And Mr. Producer is not drinking anything also. Apparently, a lot of people don't know Mr. Producer tries to sneak in the refrigerator and bring out refreshments for the both of them. That will not happen on this show anymore. No, the apple juice thing is over.
Somebody also asked if Mr. Producer had tripped over the live cable earlier. So I guess somebody must have caught that.
Possibly, but I will not put him on blast today.
Possibly. Let's see what else we've got here. Got a couple of people that have been asking again about Wrestlecade. TitleMatchWrestling.com is where you can get those tickets. Is that correct? Title Match Wrestling
Network. Tickets for the show up tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Tickets for the show will be up tomorrow. Thoughts on Haku's son, Tamatonga? Any thoughts on Tamatonga, Stevie Ray?
I'm trying to figure out who was that just talking a few minutes ago.
That was the man in the shadows, Mr. Producer.
Hey, I'll tell him what's up. Okay? Just sit back there and do your job. Now, what was that again?
Someone was asking about Tamatonga. Haku's son. Yeah, Haku's son.
He's a real talent. I've seen him work. And he's a real talent. You know, don't be surprised if you see him in
NXT?
in the big leagues here soon. He's a real talent.
Okay.
Yes.
Somebody thinks that Mr. Producer is drinking hooch.
Perhaps. He's perhaps drinking that.
Okay, here we go. This is a good question from Mike Gonzalez. Stevie, did you hear about the time Chronic wanted to beat Conan for shooting on them? Have you heard about this?
Chronic. You know, I heard rumblings of it, but I don't think I was around. I've heard about it, but I never got the true story on what really went on. So it probably was squashed before it really got to my ears. But I did hear. Matter of fact, I gotta go on Conan's show, and I'm going to bring that up.
Okay.
I'll get to the bottom. Tell whoever that is. I'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay. He's going to get to the bottom of Chronic. Let's see what else we got here. Mr. Producer, big in the chat here tonight. Somebody said transvestites should take knees.
Transvestite, she's probably already on her knees right now as we speak.
Stevie Ray, did you ever wrestle Chris Candido? This is a question.
No, I did not.
No.
I've met Chris many times, but I never wrestled him.
Okay. Many people have said, this is from 83 Aber 1, many people have said Sean O'Hare was the ultimate could have been. What do you think was a major could have been?
You know, somebody, I was talking with somebody over the comment section one day on one of the videos, and somebody asked me, of all those guys that were coming up at that time, new breeds, who did I think would have been, I guess they was doing that, these guys against the, older guys against the newer guys, something like that.
Like a fantasy matchup.
But the guy that I said was Mark Jindrak.
Okay. That's not a name that gets thrown around a lot.
And I thought Mark Jindrak had it all. And somebody asked me about Sean O'Hare. And I was like, Sean O'Hare he had all the physical tools, but he didn't have what Jindrak had, which was more of that desire, not so much as trying to be something else here. And as it played out, we see what's up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This one goes to you, Omar. You said, read this if it's really live. Well, I'm reading it to you right now. Yes, the show is really live.
What does he think? This is a video or something?
I guess he thinks this is an alternate reality.
Say no.
Somebody had asked about Buff Bagwell. Do you believe Buff Bagwell was top guy material? He says he was better than Cena. I don't recall him ever saying that, but
I don't recall him saying that either.
But you know something? John Cena and Roman Reigns had a big matchup on Sunday at WWE No Mercy, and a lot of people are thinking that it could be one of Cena's last matches. Where would you put John Cena in terms of the pantheon of all-time greats?
The thing about that is, when someone gives you that push and you can handle it, that is what I judge people by. It's not by the work in the ring. It's not about all these other things. He got the big push, and he was able to sustain that big push, because a lot of people get it and they fall off, and a lot of people are force-fed to people. John Cena, what he did good, whatever that may be, whatever his style was in the ring. He was great on the stick, had a great look about him, and when they gave him the push, he took it and ran with it and never let it go. So where do I put him? I put him right there with everybody else. He's a top guy that was a top guy that took the baton and he ran with it. That is how wrestlers judge other judges. I never look at a guy and say, well, I don't know, he couldn't work as good as so-and-so. It don't make no difference. But what he does very well. At the end of the day, I look at a Kofi Kingston, he's probably one of the most athletic people known to man. But if you give him the baton, will he carry it? I don't think so. And that's no knock on him. It's just that's how the business is now. Take the baton. Can you run with it? Can you sustain? And he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that most impressed me about John Cena is a couple of years ago when WWE was making their expansion into the Asian markets, they went to China, and John Cena learned a great deal of Mandarin so that he could speak Mandarin on WWE's behalf at that press conference. And that, to me, was one of the most incredible things I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. I think Cena deserved everything he got in professional wrestling business.
Yeah.
I really do.
Thoughts on Vampiro? Do you think he could have accomplished more?
I think so. Vampiro was a very good worker, very good look. But my thing on Vampiro was everything else.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Everything else is okay. You can work. You look the part. He's a karate guy. You know, he learned a lot of the Mexican style because that's where he got his big push at in Mexico. But when it came to charisma and making people want to put the push on you, and I love Vampiro. We were good friends when we worked together. I just don't think he had the charisma here in the States as he did in Mexico. And brother, I'm gonna tell you something. When you get the stick, when you're trying to draw the people in, you got to go to work. That's the part of the business people don't know anything about now because nowadays all the interviews are so scripted. Everybody sounds like everybody else. Mm-hmm. But in that era, which wasn't that long ago, you got to bring it. And if you don't bring it, you will get a certain height, but they won't let you go past that. It's just the way it was.
You get found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love Vampiro's work. Loved his work.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that about how things were different then than they are now. We had a question in the chat from earlier where they asked, what did you prefer? The territory days or more of the mainstream product that we see today? Did you have a preference? Do you have a preference?
Well, as far as individuality, the territory days were much better because it wasn't cookie cutter. You rarely ever you will see people that were similar, but you rarely ever saw somebody that actually mimicked someone else with just a different outfit on. Mm-hmm. Nobody talked the same. Nobody walked the same. Nobody worked the same. Everything was individuality. That's how you got yourself over. You had to be something different than everybody else. And if you wasn't, you could repackage yourself and come out as something else and try it again. And hey, sometime it worked.
Right.
You remember when Rob Van Dam, they brought him up in the WCW days? He was just a guy out there. A few years later, he goes to another territory, reinvents himself, and becomes one of the biggest stars in the world. That's the difference. Mm-hmm. You can't do that today.
Yeah.
Because once it's over, pretty much it's over.
And a lot of these talents are just overexposed as
yes.
well from a media standpoint.
Right.
You had the opportunity back then to go and grow and work on your craft in a place where
yes.
you could do this in the deep South, but mm-hmm. people in New York,
right.
Not necessarily they've seen you yet.
Right.
So if it doesn't work there, you can try something else somewhere else.
Go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a lost art. But it's not that I prefer one over the other. It's just different.
What are your thoughts on Raven in WCW? Any thoughts on Raven coming to WCW?
You know what? Scott Levy, my friend. I would always call him that. Scott Levy. I never called him Raven.
Did you ever call him Johnny Polo?
I never called him Johnny Polo.
Okay.
I never called him Scotty the Body. I called him Scott Levy. But hey, man, Raven is a very intelligent guy. Always, whatever gimmick he was doing, he did it to the hilt. When he had the flock and all that, I thought that was ingenious.
Yeah.
And I thought it was good for the show. Mm-hmm. But you always got the pushbacks, and you always got the traditionalists in WCW. Those guys. And hey, it was what it was. But hey, man, I got nothing but the utmost respect for Scott Levy.
Who was your favorite? I don't know if we've covered this or not. Did you have a favorite person to work with?
No.
No?
My brother.
Okay.
Probably my brother.
Here we go. Now, this has come up several times in the chat, so
okay.
I've got to ask this. This comes from Steve Marcole and a few other people as well. Dying to know, Nation of Domination in 2017. Stevie Ray, your thoughts? I guess they're asking, would you like to see something like that?
I would love to start a nation of domination.
Oh, breaking news.
I would love to bring a nation. I would love to go to WWE and take every African American, pull him to the side, really give them some insight on what they're dealing with, and then after all of that, implement expert tutelage. And we would run that company. Yes, that's what would happen.
That would be very exciting. Let me see what.
Yeah. Believe that. What else you got on the docket over there?
I'm looking here. Let's see. Yes, Stevie Ray would co-sign to bring back the Nation of Domination. You heard it here first. Thoughts about the Road Warriors? I don't know if we've covered the Road Warriors on this show at all.
What about them?
Well, just wondering if you have any thoughts on them.
I don't have any thoughts on them.
Okay, well, there you go. Bring the Godfather on the podcast. And also, we've gotten a few requests here for Jim Cornette as well.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We are working. This is breaking news.
Breaking news again.
We are working on getting Jim Cornette on the podcast, on Skype, so he can talk about a few. You know what I'm doing? I am going back.
You're building a coalition,
yes,
I think.
I am going back in the archives, and I'm going to find every single solitary person that this guy burned.
This is your life, Vince Russo.
And I'm going to bring them on this show, and I'm going to let them talk about you ad nauseum. That is exactly what I'm going to do. And you're going to hear it. It's not going to be fake. It's not going to be phony. It's going to be real. And I want everybody to see. I'm going to call you out and let people talk about you like the black-hearted individual that you are. Yes, we are working on getting Jimmy Cornette on this show. Yes. I didn't want to say anything about it, but since somebody brought it up, I'm going to go ahead and say something about it.
Well, there it is. Oh, yes. And thank you very much, Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer wanted to remind me to let everybody know, if you're new to the chat, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And by the way, if you want to see this show in its entirety every week, that's right, we do another podcast independent of this live show. Check it out at TitleMatchWrestlingNetwork.com. It's a 14-day free trial. No obligation. You can cancel at any time. Also, subscribe on iTunes to the podcast as well. I would love to see Stevie and Booker make a Royal Rumble entrance. Wouldn't we all?
Thank you for that.
Please make the Jim Cornette interview at least a 2-hour show.
Wait a minute, bro. I'm going to bring him on the show if we can get him, but it won't be a 2-hour show. Whatever he has to talk about, you can go to his podcast and see that. The only thing I want him talking about is one subject. One subject at all. I might ask him a few things about the old Midnight Express, so on and so forth. But hey, man, we're trying to get the truth out here. We're trying to bring it to the forefront of people writing books and lying at the same time. That's what we're trying to do. And I'm going to do it too. Every time I promise you something, I brought it. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Oh, we have somebody on here requesting that Stevie give Mr. Producer a knife-edge chop.
Don't worry. I can't do it on the air, though.
Thoughts on Ice Train in WCW? You have any memories of Ice Train?
I got plenty of memories of Ice Train.
Yeah, any you could share right here on the podcast.
I mean, who actually wants to hear about Ice Train? Really and truly, this show is about the people that, okay.
2 Trill for Life 1 says, thoughts on Ice Train in WCW. So he wants to know.
You know, Ice Train was a big guy, football player, All-American. They put him in a tag team with Scott Norton, and Ice Train was a good dude, man. I mean, we used to have a lot of fun together, you know. And Harold, that's his given name, Harold. And you know, he's one of the guys we had fun with. And all of a sudden, I didn't see him around much after like '98, I guess, '99, right in there. Mm-hmm. So I think he's still in Atlanta doing his thing, man. But Ice Train was a good dude, man. He was a very good dude.
I don't know if you've been following the drama with TNA and Impact Wrestling and Global Force Wrestling, then their Impact Wrestling again, a couple of name changes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Bruce Prichard, our guest here tonight, was there, then he was gone. Jim Cornette was there, then he was gone. A couple of people have asked what your thoughts are about the current state of TNA.
I really don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on that. I really don't know what's going on with all of that, man. You know, things everything today is predicated on television stuff and contract stuff, and I don't know. People just don't see eye to eye on this business anymore. So I really don't know what's going on. Who knows? I haven't really studied it, so I really don't have a lot of info on it. I really don't.
A couple people have asked here. I guess Ice Train comes up, so obviously Scott Norton comes up as well.
Mm-hmm. Fire and Ice.
Yeah, a few people have been asking.
Fire and Ice.
Scott Norton, how was he outside of the ring?
Scott's my boy, man.
Yeah.
Scott's my boy. I mean, we had a lot of good matches against Fire and Ice, and Scott and I was in the NWO together. So the NWO team, as everyone wants to call us, the B team. I mean, come on, man, give us a little bit more credit than that. We were holding up the NWO when Hogan and all of them guys were somewhere else. Give us a little credit, but we had fun with that. Scott was a good guy. All the guys were, in the NWO team were good guys. We had good times, and they gave us things to do on the show, and hey, that's all you can ask, man.
Yeah.
So got nothing to say bad about those guys, man. They were good guys.
And one more question here on WCW guys. What about Alex Wright? Das Wonder Kid. Alex Wright.
I just talked with Alex on Facebook. He got his own company in wrestling school in Germany.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he was like, hey, man, might want to get you to come over sometime. And I'm like, cool. Me and Alex hadn't communicated in years, man, and found each other on Facebook. His dad was I can't remember exactly what he professed himself as, but I was having problems with my back, and his dad was into that kinesiology type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we was doing a show in Germany, and he put me on a table. I always got to tell one story every week.
Story time with Stevie Ray.
Story time with Stevie Ray.
Get your popcorn ready.
I forgot to intro it, but here we go. And Alex's dad, man, he was into this kind of stuff, man. I had hurt my hand, and I couldn't even get under the bar of weights, and it would hurt my hand. I didn't know if I had broke it or what. We go to Germany, and Alex's dad takes my hand, and I don't even know what he did to it, man. And whatever he did, the pain went away, and I guess the bones went back into place. And I was having problems with my back also. He put me on the table, and he showed my brother. He said, you see that? And guess what? One of my legs was longer than the other one.
Wow.
Yeah.
There are a lot, but I've heard that a lot of people have one leg longer than the other one. They don't even know it.
And he put me in some kind of, I don't know what kind of maneuvers these was to contort my body, because he was a specialist in this. This is what he did for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And after he contorted my hips, my legs, this, that, and the other, he put me back on the table, and he told my brother, look at his legs now. They were the same length. And I didn't feel the pain anymore.
Jesus Christ, that's some witch doctor shit right there.
Alex Wright dad, because Alex Wright dad is English.
Uh-huh.
And his mother is German.
Yeah.
So he's half English and half German. So, yeah, that was some crazy stuff. But I've never experienced that, because I've been going to chiropractors and stuff like that. And it was the same thing. And this guy, I forgot exactly what he called it. I can't remember the official name for it. But this happened. And he straightened me out, and I felt like $1 million after that.
Wow.
Yes.
It's funny you mentioned the English thing, and it reminded me of something. Earlier today, based on our conversation we had last week on the show, I decided to go back and watch the Steven Regal Goldberg match.
Right.
And it's fucking hilarious.
Oh, man.
I mean, that matchup, and you could just tell the commentators had no fucking idea what was going on. At one point, Tony Schiavone's like, he's trying to out-wrestle Goldberg.
I was like, is anybody going to sell in this? Is anybody going to sell anything in this match? I was like, wow, man. But, it happened.
Oh,
a lot of people were saying, when you were asking me, did he get fired after that? I thought he did, but apparently the fans knew more than what I did. It was after that. But I remember I was listening to one of the videos that he did. He did say it probably had something to do with it, and with the incident on the airplane that I was telling you about.
Yeah, I don't think the incident on the airplane helped at all. Speaking of incidents, here's an interesting question. Did female wrestlers have their own version of ring rats?
Yeah, the boys. Yeah, the boys. Yeah, the guys that's around them every day. They don't really have to look. They're already there.
Oh, man. Let's see. Let me go fix a sandwich quick before story time with Stevie. Let's see. Alex Wright's father should have been a wrestler.
He was.
He was?
Yes. Alex Wright's dad was a wrestler. He was a worker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Producer.
Yeah, Alex.
He's directing over here. This guy's like Francis Ford Coppola here in the studio.
This guy's like Ed Wood.
Let's see here. Harlem Heat versus the Dudley Boys in reality of wrestling. Book it, Stevie.
Well, I would book it if Vince would let my brother work.
Okay.
And now Devon is up there too, so neither one of them can work.
No one's working.
Yeah.
No one's working.
They both got jobs with Vince, so they can't work anymore.
How about this? Any A-list celebrities surprise you by telling you they were wrestling fans?
Well, I told you about, who was that, Matt Damon? But he wasn't A-list then.
No.
I told the story about Muhammad Ali, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, now that's a few right there. Did I tell the Frankie Valli story?
You told the Frankie Valli story?
That's another A-lister right there.
We've covered that, yes.
Yeah.
And if you guys are new to the show, check out our past podcasts, and you can hear all those. Stevie talks about meeting Muhammad Ali. The Frankie Valli story is out of control.
It's crazy,
that's
man.
Just the craziest shit.
Mr. Producer, have you released that one yet? Just shake your head yes or no. Okay. You haven't released it yet, fans, but it's coming, so check that one out.
So here's another thing, too, I'm finding out tonight on the chat, and thank you, everybody, because you guys are keeping me informed as well. WWE is making Starrcade a house show, so that's interesting. I guess if you're not in North Carolina, you won't be able to see Starrcade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Just one more reason to be in North Carolina that weekend. And make sure you come and see our live show on Saturday night.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It's Friday night. Is it Friday night or Saturday night?
Friday.
It's Friday night? Okay.
Get your facts straight.
Friday night.
For somebody to show up on a Saturday night looking for something.
Excuse
it's
me.
not even going on.
Well, Mr. Producer will be there all weekend.
That don't make no difference.
So they can see him if they can find him. Be like, where's Waldo? I'm not asking that question.
Wait a minute. Is it something stupid?
Yes.
Okay, is it something stupid?
Okay.
How stupid is it?
Here, I'll just say, Stevie, who is the biggest Coke monster in the locker room?
Oh, come on, man. That's easy. That's easy, but I would never divulge. I would never say it.
John B81 said the Haku story on the podcast was great. Anything on the Barbarian, he seemed nuts.
You know, Barb. Now, don't get me. I can't say as I've seen anything, but I've heard stories. You know, back when he was with Vince, because when he was with WCW, he pretty much calmed down a whole lot. Mm-hmm. But back when he was with Vince, I heard some of the stories, and I can't really repeat them on this podcast. I really can't. I'm sorry, dog. If I would, I could, and you know that because Stevie Ray holds nothing back. Barb's my boy, and I will be telling the story that I have heard. They're a little bit more demonstrative than I want to go when I'm talking about subjects like that. So I'm gonna have to let that one slide.
All right. Stevie, who was the toughest wrestler you ever fought?
Fought? I've never had a fight with anyone.
Well, I mean, you knocked Vader on his ass.
Well, but that was out of, frustration.
Yes.
It wasn't a real fight. A lot of people say I didn't even hit him.
Oh, he put him on his ass. I went back and watched it. I mean,
a lot of people say he was falling anyway.
Yeah.
He might have been falling anyway because of my foot movement. You know, the swift foot movement. He can't remember, but that's how he gets off balance.
Yeah.
But be that as it may,
Crossed his feet. Stevie Ray, have you met anyone in the NBA?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've hung out at black strip clubs with Shaq.
Hell yeah. What the hell are they talking about? Yeah. Didn't you hear the black strip club story?
Yeah.
Me and Shaq and my drunk brother?
Diesel.
Wait a minute. Did we tell the story about my brother in the black strip club?
No, I don't
think we did.
No, I don't think we've covered that.
I don't know if we got time to cover it tonight.
Yeah.
Do we have time to cover it tonight?
Cliffhanger. I think we should leave him hanging on that one.
Okay, because I've already told one story.
Yeah.
This one would take a. I don't know, man. Maybe we should. Well, I don't know. Well, we got to go. Next week, I'm gonna tell you the black strip club story, and this is a doozy. This is a doozy. Because I got to be careful. I got to realize, man, my brother's married with 2 little bitty kids, so I can't really indulge in things. I don't want to mess his marriage up. He might see this video, but it's not nothing bad anyway. But be that as it may, next week. Hold on for that one.
Another black strip club story next week right here.
I got a few of those. I haven't told yet.
Well, this has been the fastest hour in podcasting right here, Stevie.
Yes.
And before we wrap it up, we got to let everybody know a couple of things here. Mr. Producer is on the ball tonight. I got to say that. Again, TitleMatchWrestling.com. You can get tickets starting tomorrow for Stevie Ray and Bruce Prichard. In addition to that, tickets will also be available, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Producer, for Stand Up for Greatness, the live show, which will be at Wrestlecade on Saturday night, November the 25th.
Hey, wait a minute.
In Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Stop right there.
Yes.
Stop. I want to know, why isn't the flyer for Stand Up for Greatness out yet? Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. But anyway, continue, I want to get that flyer up.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of faces on that flyer as well, because I'm also being told breaking news, Eva Lise from Lucha Underground will be there, as well as Sabu and Super Genie. So this is going to be a packed weekend, courtesy of Title Match Wrestling. Get those tickets at Title Match Wrestling right now. Oh, right now, not tomorrow, right now. There you go. And if you act now, you can get tickets. So, I don't know. You're not giving anything else away to them, are you, Mr. Producer? No? Okay. All right. Also, connect with Stevie on Twitter at RealStevieRay.
Yeah, and I'll lay it down on Twitter also. Well, Topolski, another one bites the dust.
And we had really no technical issues tonight. This is incredible.
No glitches.
No glitches.
Or did we?
No glitches.
I still don't think it's up to standard.
No buffers.
Still don't think it's up to standards. But that's okay. That's okay. Things have got a little better.
Yeah.
I'm not as frustrated as I usually am. Maybe the guy's not as inebriated as he usually is. Maybe he's not tripping over his own feet like he usually is. Hopefully he came to work ready to work for once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now we know where my apple juice is gone.
Yeah, your apple juice is gone.
Yeah.
I want it gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
No apple juice, no water, no milk, no cocoa, whatever everything. I don't even want the water. Who knows if it was spiked when I come in? You and Mr. Producer, I think it's spiked with something when I come in. Gone now.
Liquid courage.
Look at the focus now. Look at the focus. Man, look at yourself. Look at the focus. Yeah. Yeah, anything you got to add?
I mean, your expert tutelage is rubbing off.
It should be.
It is.
After a month of that, 2 months, 2.5 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome. But anyway, anything else you got to say?
Well, no, I was going to say, we covered a lot of breaking news tonight. I mean, again, God rest his soul, Hugh Hefner has passed away at 91. We got to talk to Bruce Prichard on the show. We shared some Bobby the Brain Heenan. We buried Vince Russo some more, rightfully so.
Not as good as we could have.
Well, there's always room for improvement.
I'm saving it.
Yeah.
Saving it for next week.
You will be on Vince's show tomorrow, is that correct?
If everything goes like they're supposed to, I will be on his show tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we wrapped up another one. Stand Up for Greatness. We promise you top people on this show. Bruce Prichard was on this show today. And I told you, I'm working on Jimmy Cornette, and I'm also working on Jesse the Body Ventura, another friend of mine. Because on Stand Up for Greatness, we walk it like we talk it. Other than that, I'm not going to say anything about it. And for all the people out there that's been giving us real love, I appreciate that. Matt appreciates that. Believe it or not, Mr. Producer appreciates that. But every week, the show gets better and better. And that's how we're going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just heard a cat, you really don't, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain, okay?
Ernest Miller is here.
Yeah, Ernest Miller just showed up. As a matter of fact, we're trying to get him too. But hey, man, check us out next week. 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. Stand up for greatness. They call me Stevie Ray. Somebody holler at your boy. Peace.